are you appearing for?
For a union.
But for the union, how many people will appear, Mr. Nataraj? We don't want to stop you because it's an important matter, but...
I'll not repeat anything. And
can you formulate what
Yes, I'll formulate. I'm cautious of the arguments already advanced on behalf of Union of India, and equally conscious of the time factor which is daring at me through your eyes.
Find you to 10 minutes.
Just I'll only on a different approach which I'd like to give to the entire the facets of this one with regard to the matter. Basically, I formulated 4 issues which I will cover up within 10 or 15 minutes. I will not go beyond that. Article 370 is the only provision in the Constitution which has a self-destruction mechanism. There are other articles which would lapse by a flux of time. That is a different scenario altogether. Number 2, this article did not confer any kind of right. Number 3, continued application of... One. Please, I'm sorry.
Continued application
of Article 370, discriminated and opposed to basic structure. Fourthly, doctrine of federalism, the foundation which they are laid. Please. In the stricto sense, has no application insofar as Article 370 process is concerned.
What is the 4th one?
The doctrine of federalism, that federal structure principle, has no application in stricto sense insofar as process under Article 370 is concerned. Now, first let me deal with the last point with regard to the federal structure theory which they advanced or propounded in support of their contention. By virtue of it, the Article 370 abrogation and all this process, the federal structure has been violated. While dealing with that, first let me take this Honorable Court to the provisions under the Constitution where under the constitutional provisions can be amended. That is Article 368. Now kindly take Article 368 in juxtaposition with Article 370. There are 2 situations. Under Article 368, that is the provision under which the Constitution can be amended. That is the provision which recognizes, number 1, constituent power. Number 2, while amending the constitutional provisions, in most of the cases, we require the majority or the 2/3 of the majority as provided under Article 368(1). The second part is equally important, which recognizes federalism, is the next part, where the ratification. Article 368(2) that recognizes federalism in the matter of amendment to the Constitution.
Yes.
Kindly see the keywords under Article 368. kindly take the keywords under Article 368. (368)(1). Notwithstanding anything contained in this constitution, President may, in exercise of its constituent power, the constituent power is explicitly brought into the constitutional provision for the purpose of amendment under Article 368(1). In exercise of constituent power, amend by way of addition, variation, or repeal any provision of this constitution in accordance with the procedure laid down in this article. So, for the purpose of repeal, the power exercised is recognized as a constituent power under Article 368(1). Now, kindly go to 2. An amendment of this constitution may be initiated only by the introduction of a bill for the purpose of either house in a parliament, and when the bill is passed, each house by a majority of total membership of that house, and by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the house are voting. That is the second part. Then proviso, provided that if such amendment seeks to make any change in Articles 54, 55, and so and so, the amendment shall also require to be ratified by the legislature of not less than 1/2 of the states. So the collective consent theory is introduced under Article 368 for the purpose of amendment of the Constitution. It is a collective consent which is required under Article 368 for the purpose of amending the Constitution. In a way, it is a veto power conferred upon the majority of the states. Now, have 370, Articles 370 in a juxtaposition. Kindly go to Article 373. Notwithstanding anything contained in these provisions of this article, the President may, by notification, declare that this article shall cease to be operative or shall be operative only with such exceptions or modification as may specify, provided that the recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of the state so and so shall be necessary so and so. 368 speaks of the ratification, a collective consent, and the veto power as a recognition of federal structure is embodied under Article 368. However, when it comes to Article 370, the language is only recommendation, which already they pointed out, it is only
It's been argued consistently.
Please.
The word recommendation has been argued.
Argued, therefore I am not touching. I am pointing out the difference between the ratification as a matter of the federal structure which is brought in for the purpose of amendment, and 370 which only says the recommendation. So,
but equally, the adaptation to the Constitution ensured that even in the matter of an amendment,
yes,
the President has to still go through the route of Article 370(1).
absolutely, absolutely. Therefore, in the stricto sense, Article 368 principles of getting it ratified will not be applicable to when it comes to 370. Only the recommendation is required, which has a very, very limited.
An additional safeguard was introduced.
Correct.
And that safeguard is not merely in matters which require ratification by half the states.
Correct.
But any constitutional amendment has to go through the process of Article 370.
370.
In relation to J&K.
J&K.
As it then stood.
Yes, that's right. But however, reading these two articles in a different language will make either of them redundant. Otherwise, straight away we can go under Article 368 for any kind of amendment of the Constitution.
Other amendment provisions will have impact on different states.
Correct.
It's the provision which only has an impact on
when the larger power under Article 368 itself is conferred for the purpose of certain amendments of the Constitution. When 368 itself is available, there is no question of applying 370. Reading in any other form makes 370 redundant. Or if you apply 370 in any other form, 368 makes redundant.
It's always been put to us that 373 was a self-destructive mechanism so far as 370 is concerned. That we've already noted.
Mr. Nataraj,
Please.
what you're probably trying to highlight
Please.
is The argument that the federal structure gets affected because of abrogation of 370
Yes.
should not be accepted for the reason
Yes.
that the federal structure is protected by 368
Yes.
itself. And you cannot say that federal
Absolutely.
structure is diluted in case 370 is
370 is concerned. So federal structure is applied and protected under Article 368 and under Article 370. There is no such strict application of federal structure for the purpose of Article 370. Any other interpretation would in a way makes either 370 or 368 a redundant provision. No constitutional provision. So therefore, power conferred under Article 370 is a unique, superior power. It is neither a constitutional power, nor a legislative power, nor an executive power. However, it has the flavor of all three. It is a superior power conferred under the Constitution on the President to introduce.
Now look at our problem.
Yes.
Your two ASGs arguing two different things. Mr. Dwivedi said it's a constituent power.
It
And
has
you
the
are saying
flavor.
that,
Yes, it
of
has.
course, Mr. Dwivedi is not an ASG, but
it-
the point is he's on your side.
Yes.
Now, at some point, we were told that they had differing interpretations.
Yes.
Now we are in a situation where the respondents are coming with
It has the, yes, it has the flavor of all three. It has the flavor of all three.
What I don't understand is,
Yes.
attorney and solicitors are given a perspective of how the constitution is understood from the
Yes.
government perspective.
Yes.
Will we have different perspectives?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It is in line with the argument advanced by learned Solicitor General. What we say that it is a unique, extraordinary power conferred on the President to abrogate or to bring in certain changes in the Constitution, which has the flavor of constituent power, which has the flavor of executive power, which has the flavor of legislative power. So that is a plenary power conferred on the President. And when such a power is conferred on the President, plenary power, we need not or we should not treat with any kind of limitations for exercise of such power. Such an extraordinary power conferred on the President need not be or should not be read with any kind of limitations. And it must be given fullest meaning and to be applied without any procedural restrictions.
The proviso has to be forgotten.
Proviso has to be followed. There is no doubt about it. But you can't equate with the Article 368 that the stricter.
If the proviso has to be followed, then what happens to the requirement therein?
No, the requirement is correct, but the yardstick is totally different. We can't equate with the procedure required to be followed under Article 368. proviso need not be in stricto sensu, it need not be followed. And when it's a plenary power, it need not be read with the limitations as held in R versus Burra, which has been applied in the Keshavananda Bharati.
Thank you,
And-
Mr. Nataraj. Thank you very much, Mr. Nataraj.